I'm Richard Neal, this is my trusty facehugger Fred, and this is another Naked Truth, thanks to Tricia Hirschberger. And today our topic of discussion is, I'm thinking you mean stage fright? Or the anxiety one feels before a performance. I've been in a few plays in my life, in high school and college. Actually one in grade school, as I recall. And I can tell you, I'm not a big stage frighter. Yeah, the whole fear before a play thing. It's not something that's ever really affected me. I mean, the largest audience I ever played to was my high school graduation. I was singing, and I was singing with a chorus, so it wasn't that scary. But I mean, several thousand people. And at that point, anxiety, if I had some, which I really didn't, would have risen my heart rate. And that would have been a good thing. And that's when they say use it or lose it in terms of stage fright or stage anxiety. That's one of those things. You can either use it as a fuel to run your character, to give your character a level of intensity that it didn't have before or otherwise, or you can lose yourself in the character and not have that feeling, but feel the emotions of the character, giving the character that intensity. That's my experience with stage fright. That's my thing. I think the worst I ever had was 2003, 2004 maybe. I was performing Abraham Van Helsing in Dracula, and it turned out there's a dog barking in the background. And it turned out that I was allergic to the spirit gum they used to glue the beard to my face. So as I was performing this old man, I was having this terrible nausea. And that dog will not shut up, will he? I mean, I love dogs actually, but still, don't interrupt. Bad dog. Anyway. So as I'm performing this old man, I'm having this terrible nausea. During the intermission, the director comes out and he says, "Richard, are you gonna be sick?" "No, I'm fine. I'll get through it. Just need to finish this. It's only I perform my lines like a freight train. So this play was less than an hour and a half, just booming through it, booming through it, booming through it. So that was my worst experience. And Van Helsing as a character during the play, he's an older man. He has to donate blood to Lucy. So it worked. It worked for the character. I was a man having physical problems, and I was literally, during the play, having physical problems. It incorporated in my character. In other situations where this might kind of come into play, I do have a lot of issues with paying for advertising, for one. I run a webcomic. I enjoy drawing. I'd really like people to read it. And unfortunately, if you don't have a big friend base, if you don't have people who are going to share your work, then no one's going to read it. So if nobody reads it, then you need to spend money on advertising. Or accept the fact that no one's going to read it. Which, I mean, when I write a comic, my artwork is horrible, so I consider myself a writer, not a cartoonist. But I want to know if people are going to laugh at my jokes. It's one of those things. Without feedback, I can't get better. So that's a big, spending money on things that I'm not sure on, I guess, is my big stage fright. When I'm buying something that's going to make an impact on my life, I'm afraid. Honestly afraid. I mean, as I've mentioned several times, my job does not pay well. And you know what? It's not that stable either. People get fired for really silly reasons at my work. I may soon be one of them. We've changed leadership twice in the last year. Yeah, twice in the last year. So I guess I have a few legitimate concerns. And on the one hand, I need to get something else going in my life. And on the other hand, I have trouble affording it. So that's my big fear right now. How do I deal with that? Well, you never deal with that. You just have to weigh the options And at a certain point, I'm going to have to just take the plunge. I'm going to have to find a method of advertising. You know, there's one thing I have done in the past. Spent maybe $150 on it. It worked okay, but then I had a really bad depression and I didn't post as often, so that $150 kind of disappeared, and that was very annoying. And then I once tried to sponsor Elliot Morgan, the YouTuber. I said, you know, hey, I got this webcomic. Maybe I could throw you $100 or something, and you could tell people about my stuff. So he has his own channel. It's kind of a small channel, and I figured, I think he's a family man. I figured, hey, you know, who could use the money but him? And if he says no, he'll at least say why. Which, you know, hey, feedback. Feedback is really useful. Never got a response. Oh well, maybe he gets a lot of email. Kind of beside the point. But with stage fright, I've never had that problem because I know it doesn't matter what happens on that stage. I'm probably going to be okay. I'm not going to be injured. I'm not, well, okay, that's not true. I've been injured on stage. But the worst things, that the greatest fears in my life are generally about my well-being. Those are my thing. Oh, come on, a train now? A train? I think that the world just doesn't want me to make this video. What else could happen to me today? You know, I had a terrible plumbing leak that I can't get a plumber out till tomorrow. So I'm going to have a cold shower because it's my hot water and I had to shut it off. And I got something expensive going to happen tomorrow with this plumber. And my bathroom is kind of flooded. I'm going to have to leave the fans on all night to try and dry it out before he gets here. And now I've got dogs and trains interrupting my YouTube videos. Yeah, I don't care that much. Life goes on. The one cardinal rule. Anyway, so I've babbled enough. And anyone who's watched up until this point, thank you so much. You're a saint. You may feel free to tell me how horrible I am or ways that I can improve in the comments below. I'm going to link to my inspiration, which is Trisha Hirschberger, in the description of this channel, as well as to my webcomic. And if you're feeling really, really nice, you can check out my webcomic and tell me ways I can make it suck less, because the whole sucking thing is my problem. I don't need to make things that suck, unless they're vacuums, but I don't know how to make vacuums, so there's that. I mean, I guess if I wanted to make something, wanted to use my talent of suck production, I could make vacuums. That's an idea. I might go into vacuum manufacturing. Anyway, I'm Richard Neal. This is Fred the Facehugger. And I'm going to go take a cold shower and drudge off to my soul-numbing job.